Hey everybody, welcome to the SmokeMidwest.com YouTube channel. Today is going to be an awesome one. Stick around. We are smoking this 17.8 pound Snake River Farms Gold Wagyu brisket. It's going to be an awesome one. So here it is, the Snake River Farms Gold Wagyu brisket. 17.8 pounds, and I'm going to trim it up. So this is the night before. And I'm gonna put this on, I don't know, like 2, 3 in the morning, something like that, on the offset smoker, which I'll bring you along for that as well. But we're gonna get this thing trimmed up a little bit before we lose all of our daylight, and check it out. Super excited for this. My lovely wife got this for me for a Christmas present, and it's been in the freezer just waiting for this day to come along and to get it in the smoker. This thing is huge. I'm gonna flip it over here. You just see all of the marbling on this thing. It looks incredible. So we're gonna get some of the blood off it. Do a fairly light trim on it. Just want to get some of this fat off the top here and off the side. And yes, I'm definitely gonna save this fat and render it down for the good some Wagyu beef tallow. So just getting some of this hard fat off, the stuff that doesn't cook during or render during the cook. Some of this off the top here, so that way we can get a good bark. I've never cooked a Wagyu brisket before, so this will definitely be my first. And I am very, very excited. Look at all the fat just right in there. I'm not going to worry about all the silver skin right there. I'm afraid it's going to get all mangled up if I try and get all of that, but definitely going to get some of this fat here. Gonna get some of all of this loose stuff over here. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna do a full-on competition trim with this thing. Just want to get some of this fat off of here. Make it a little more aerodynamic. I am gonna square up this edge just a little bit. You just see the marbling, which is crazy. This thing is something else. So I'm gonna get some of the hard fat on the other side, and I'm going to call it good. Like this big old chunk of fat here. That's not going to render out. Some of this hard fat over here on this side. I'm going to get it as well. I'm not going to cut real deep into it. So I'm going to get this side. I know you guys can't see it, but get this gray off this edge. You can see that marbling. Just look at that. That is insane. I'm going to get just a little bit more of this hard fat right here. By the point, I'm going to call this pretty darn good. So what I'm going to do is put this back in the fridge, and I don't know, about 2, 3 in the morning, I'm going to season it up. I'm going to use a blend of salt, pepper, garlic. It's going to be a rub I'm going to make up. I'm going to keep it pretty simple just so I can really get the full shebang of this Wagyu brisket. So it'll probably be the next morning by the time I see you guys next. I'm going to run it on the Lone Star Grillz offset smoker. Be running some hickory wood. Be shooting for anywhere between 250 and 300. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, everybody, it's 2:45 in the morning. The brisket is on the smoker. Currently sitting about 276 degrees, 277. Got some hickory wood going. And it's just me and the coyotes outside. Even my barbecue dog made a brief appearance. They went back to bed. We'll check in here in a few hours and take a look at it. Good morning. It is 6:30 in the morning. The brisket's been on since 2:30, so that's about 4 hours. It's been on the good hickory smoke. Let's check it out. So the smoker's been running about 250, 260 all night long. It's been nice and steady. That looks good. Got a nice bark going. About after about the 3-hour mark, it started spritzing every time I put on a log. So things are looking good. Fire is looking good. And we'll check in here in a little bit. So I want to show you how I have the Lone Star Grillz smoker set up and what kind of wood I'm using, specifically the size of the wood. So the firebox door open, well, maybe about an inch or so. And then I have the stack damper open a little bit more than halfway. And that's been running steady at 250. And the wood I've been using, give you a size comparison, this is my hand. I would say the wood's about 10 inches or so. About that big around. Less than a baseball, bigger than a golf ball. I got this wood at Walmart, and it was pretty big. I would say that it was probably about twice or 3 times the diameter of that. I used one of those little kindling splitters, split it up, and that's been the perfect size of wood to use. So we're just gonna keep on rocking and rolling. So the brisket has been on 6 hours. The smoker is holding steady, about 260, 275. Let's take a look at it. Starting to hit that stall, so all the juices are starting to push out. So what I'm going to do is just let it ride through the stall. Once we're past it, we're going to do the foil boat method. So we're going to flip it over, fat cap up, do a little boat around it, and finish it off that way. So we'll see in a little bit, and we'll check on it. It's looking good and smelling good. All right, a brisket has been on the smoker nearly 9 hours. We're through the stall. Things are looking fantastic. It's been running about 255, 260 the whole time. Let's take a look at it. Ooh, it's looking good. The bark is definitely set. So we are going to do the foil boat and finish this thing off. We have 2 sheets of heavy duty aluminum foil here. It's a little windy, so I'm going to try to do this nice and quick. So right now we have it cooking fat side down. And so with the foil boat method, you do fat cap up. So I'm essentially just going to flip it over onto the foil here, just like so. We're gonna leave that probe right there and just make a little boat around it. And this thing is looking good. I'm gonna cover up the point a little bit as much as possible like that. Excuse me, the flat. Make a little boat up here. Actually, I'm gonna move it down this way, just a scotch. That, so I can get the point covered up. Cover up the flat just a little bit. This is looking perfect. So I'm going to rotate it and do the point closest to the firebox again. That's how I did it originally. So I'm going to put this thing back on here. Make sure it's nice and tight around there. Probably have to tighten it up here in an hour or two. But yeah, I'm gonna let this ride. Might bump up the temp a little bit to 275-ish, around in there. I'll get you a little bit better shot. That's how we're looking. Might bump it up to like 275 or so, but we're gonna check it for tenderness about 200 degrees. So we'll check in when it hits 200 degrees internal temperature. Right now it's about 170. We pushed through the stall. The old barbecue dog. He only got up with me for a little bit last night. He likes to sleep in, likes to be in bed. He was out here looking at me all confused, what was going on. Then we went back to bed. I don't blame him. But he's out here now helping me. So it's been exactly 11 hours and the brisket has hit 200 degrees. Let's check to see if it's tender. Smoker's still holding steady in between 250 and 260. And I'm gonna see if this is tender. Oh yeah. Feels pretty darn good. Let's get a temp on it. 203, this is in the flat. 197. 202. Still a little tough there. It's a 204. Check the point. It's a 203, 202. I'm gonna let it go about another half hour or so. It's pretty darn tender, but I feel like it could be a little bit more. It's got a little give to it. So I'm gonna let it go another half hour. I'm gonna put on another split. We'll check it then. So it's been another half hour. Total cook time is 11 and a half hours. We're gonna probe it here. Ooh, that's feeling good. My thing is airing out because I've been letting it sit in the sun, but that feels super, super good. Very tender. So what I'm gonna do is, got a foil pan here. I'm gonna leave the temperature probe in it because I want to monitor the internal temperature while it's in the oven, because I want to slice it when it hits about 155, 150. So what I'm gonna do is leave it in the foil boat, which means you can just see how tender that thing is. You get a jiggle to it, which is good. So I'm gonna leave it just like this, and I'm gonna put a piece of foil over the top. I'm gonna leave the probe in, put it in the oven inside on the warm proof setting, which is around like 100, 120 degrees. And once this cools down, we're gonna slice into it and be amazed. We'll see you then. So our brisket has been resting 3 hours, just like this, in the oven. I had it on the warm proof setting for a little bit. Then I turned it off. I had the probe in there to maintain the internal temperature. It's cooled down to 160 degrees. So it's time to cut into this and check it out. So left it in the foil boat. I've been smelling it for the past 3 hours and cannot wait to try it. Look at all that juice in there. So that's fat cap up. So this is going to be fat cap down. Got the grain running that way. This is going to be amazing. So what I'm going to do is I want some burnt ends out of this. So I'm going to cut the point off and separate that from the flat, like so. I'm just going to set this over here for now. And let's get some slices out of this. Cutting very nice. Get a few nice slices here. We'll do one more. Give it a shot. Take a look. That smoke ring on there. That looks dynamite. All right, let's try a bite of this. It pulls apart easily. This is something else. The beef flavor on this is something exceptional. Tons of moisture in it. Even the fat is just so buttery. Like normally I just cut all that fat off, but it just like melts in your mouth. So this is fantastic. So just a quick recap what we did. 17.8 pound Wagyu, Snake River Farms Gold. Trimmed it up. I didn't show this on camera, but I put my own rub mixture on there. What it is 3 tablespoons of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of Lowry's, and another tablespoon of granulated garlic. Coated it all on there. I actually used all the rub. Put it on the smoker. Took 11 and a half hours on the hickory smoke. Averaged about 255 degrees for the smoker temperature. And we pulled it off when it hit 201. It was tender. So, man, I'm going to have a bite of this. This is excellent. I want to try a burnt end too. Put this back in the foil packet for now, or the foil. Barbecue dog there. Let's get a burnt end from down here. There's just so much fat on this brisket. It is wild. Trim that little fat off there. Nice little smoke ring. That quite literally just melts in your mouth. Super, super good brisket. Thanks for following along. We'll see you in the next video.